Greetings, Larsonians around the world and people who wish they were at Larson. Today we are going to conclude our employment planning workshop, introduction to employment planning workshop, and we're going to focus on the interview process because that's what it's all about. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you get the job because you did well enough in the interview to get the job. And part of doing well enough means you weren't necessarily the best person. You were their choice. You were good enough. You had the qualities that they wanted. And also, sometimes we don't get the position even though we did the best we can. So in a stoic world, how would you feel, Matt, if you did your best and you didn't get it?
As long as I did my best and I performed to the best of my abilities, I would be satisfied.
Yeah, be satisfied, because sometimes somebody better is going to apply and they're going to get it. It doesn't mean you need to change anything you did. You know, we tend to have this idea that if we try something and it doesn't work, we need to change what we did. We don't always need to change what we do just because it didn't work the first time. You know, sometimes somebody better is applying for the same job, and they're only going to hire one person. Just take it that you didn't get it this time. So anyway, we're going to do a review. And Ed, is that composition book you have from last time?
No, it's not. Sir.
You lost that?
Yeah.
You lost it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's with your Gladius? Okay. So, all right. So, one of our students, Ed, is here for the second time. He lost his composition book, so he forgot the whole employment planning workshop process, which is what will happen with everybody in here. That's why we have a composition book. That's why you're told that the composition book, you should think of it as your reference manual for the future. You want to make sure when you create it, when you have the pages, you have your table of contents page updated, your TED Talks page updated, all of these things done, so in the future when you want to go back and get some information, you know where to get it. You know where to find it. And things should tie into your drive. That's why we have the drive, because we don't remember. That's why we videotape, or that's why we don't videotape. That's why these daily classes are recorded and put on YouTube so you can go back and look at them. Ed is now in this position where he's getting advice from 5 different people on how to do a resume. How many people?
3 different.
Okay, 3 different people on how to do his resume. And all of them are completely wrong. Well, the other 2. I'll say the other 2. Those 3 are completely wrong. They're not going to get you in the place where you want to be. Now, you don't remember what you did. You were here 2 years ago, right? When did you start?
And it was March 2014.
Okay, so Ed started in March 2014. He's forgotten 100% of the employment planning process, which is what everybody will do if you don't write it down and have your book to look at. Okay, so having the book is very important. Reviewing what you have is very important because, as Ed demonstrated, if you learn something and you don't remember it, what's that like? Useless. It's like you never learned it. So Ed is trying to get a job, getting advice from people who are telling him exactly the wrong things to do, and he's not doing the right thing because he didn't remember the right thing. So we're going to quickly review for everyone. So please make sure in your composition books, if you don't have this already, you start with a page that says Employment Planning Workshop, and we put down the 5 steps to this employment planning process. So, step number 1 is what? Deanna. No. Step 1, Mike. Yeah. No, it's not the same thing. That yours is step number 2. Okay, step number 1. Find what you love to do. Now, there's a lot of ways of saying that, but the basic idea to get across in your mind is, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Start from that position. What is it that I love to do? Now, for some people, that's hard to figure out. You might ask yourself, well, what would I do? What do I like to do as a hobby? Okay, most things that are hobbies, somebody has a business supplying the people who have the hobby. Okay, you collect bottle caps, guess what? There's people who sell bottle caps to bottle cap collectors. They make good money on eBay doing that. So find what you love to do. In the past, we had it as a calling or destiny. You know, figure out what would you do for free because you love it so much. You'd be willing to do it for free. Or if you got a lot of things that you'd be willing to do for free, say, well, which of these would I pay to do? Take it to that level. But you need to start with, what do you want to do? Because really, anybody can do what you want, what you love to do. Now, you can't say, well, I love to be an astronaut, but I can't be an astronaut. You can't love to be an astronaut if you're not an astronaut. You might love the idea of being an astronaut, and then you need to do what you need to do to become an astronaut. You might say, well, I'd love to be a brain surgeon. Well, you can't love to be a brain surgeon if you're not a brain surgeon. Yeah.
Could you make it general? Like, I love to supervise. I love to
No.
customer service company.
No.
More specific.
Yeah, it's got to be a specific, so that's a good point. It needs to be a specific thing. I love to supervise people cutting frozen fish, would be an example. Because if you say, well, I love to supervise, then how many companies have supervisors? And are you going to be happy at any place?
Probably not.
No, not probably. Absolutely not. So Matt usually talks in the extremes of it's either A or B. Now he flipped up on me and did it through in a probable. Okay, what's step number 2, Deanna?
I have who does that.
Okay, find 3 to 5 employers who do that. Okay, this is where you're going to need to have your calendar. You're going to need to create a calendar at this stage. Find what you love to do, Google search, YouTube, create a document to keep track of these things, to think about, ponder, etc. Here you're going to want to have not a calendar, a map. Here you're going to want to have a map. Okay, you're also going to want to have a map at this stage, because when you find the people, you need to put them on the map. Because there could be 3 to 5 people that do that, but they might be geographically undesirable, because maybe you don't want to move. So you need to have a map. What's the 3rd step? Research. How much research?
You want to research
How much research?
as much as you can get, as much as you can get. How they became customers.
Now, other than that, does anybody have this written down?
Know them better than know themselves.
Right. You need research to the extent that you know them better than the interviewer. You're never going to know it better than everybody in the whole company, but you can know it better than the interviewer. That's how much research you do. So the Jesuit teaching is, if you want to get somebody who's a communist to not be a communist, to become a capitalist, you don't argue capitalism. You need to know communism better than they know communism. Okay? So research. What's the 4th step?
Create a plan.
Right. Create a plan. On what? Plan of what?
different resumes?
Huh?
What's different resumes?
No. You create a plan on how to get a job there. Now, part of that is you will have a resume, but you need to strategically think the whole thing through. So a resume is part of your plan. I need to send them my resume. I need to get an interview. I should send a cover letter. Do I put a picture in my packet that I'm sending? What else do I include in it? That's part of your plan, is how do you get employed? Because just because you do the research, it doesn't mean you're going to get a job. So you create a plan on how to get employed.
Okay.
Now, why didn't I say how to get an interview?
Well, resume interview. You're not trying to get an interview, you're trying to get hired.
Yeah, you might not need to have an interview. There could be situations, the probability is very low, but there could be a situation, the owner's son is in a car, the car catches on fire, you save the son from the fire, and now they owe you. Look at that just happened to you. Not getting the job, but somebody saved somebody's son in a fire, in a car, I think it was. Car fire.
Is this a myth or this is real?
No.
Oh, that's not even
This is in the news right now. Jamie Foxx saved some guy's kid. I think the car was burned. It was house fire.
Finally got to work. Over in front of his house, and he ran out the house. And say, put it on the car.
So
Yeah.
somebody hired Jamie Foxx? Is that what
No, it's not about hiring. It's not about hiring. But now what's in the news is the dad got to go meet and thank Jamie Foxx in person. And so Jamie Foxx, now that he's met the dad, says, "What's up? Well, I've been out of work.
Oh, so if you're lucky enough to have the accident yourself and have a famous person.
It could be. With One-Eyed Willie, the best thing that happened to him was he's riding his bicycle and he got hit by a truck after being out on the streets for 4 years and got like $90,000. That was a good thing for him. Okay, what's step 5? Execute the plan. And if I write von Moltke,
No plan
What
to
should that
survive the battle, the engagements, the war.
no plan, survives,
Contact with the enemy.
contact with the enemy, right? So have a backup plan. Okay, so have a backup plan. Okay, so then we draw a line under that. So Ed, do you have this in your book? Right. Okay. Then we have 6, get a job. You quote job to pay the bills until you get what you want. Okay? So if you want to be an actor, one of your dream jobs is to be an actor, or an entertainer, musician, comedian, whatever it is, you have this plan, you do this, you do your research, whatever it takes to do, you execute the plan, but in the meantime, you're what? What do you do as a job? You pay the bills, you wait tables, bartend, work in a convenience store, you do whatever you have to do to pay the bills. So the coaching that Ed got was this. Create a resume, send that resume out to a bunch of people. Oh, by the way, we're going to help you create the resume, right? We're going to help you create the one resume. Send it out to people, and you can always get a job sorting other people's garbage through, what's it called?
Renew oil.
Renew oil. Is that a plan? Okay. Now, as a here's what I want to do. I'm going to do this tomorrow because I need to pay bills this week, but I'm going to be looking for another job until this comes in. But what you don't have is you don't have this. So if all you're doing is trying to get a job, what are you going to be doing 5 years from now?
Working at that job.
You're going to be doing that or something like that. Why?
Because that's all you did.
Because you don't have a plan. You're not going after what you want. So one of the few good things about college for most people is going to college is part of the plan. I go to college, I'm going to have my diploma, then I can go get something better. And I postpone having to do this while I'm in college for a lot of people. Now the people who go to Harvard or Stanford or good schools, when they go to Stanford, they say, I want to go for biology, or I want to go for computer science, or I want to go for this, because I want to be that when I get out of college. I want to be that when I get out of college. But I can't be that unless I go to college. I need to go to a good college. I'm going to study in high school so I get good enough grades to go here, because if I go there, then I can get this. That's what most people that go to those schools do. Though there are some people who did well in high school, did well enough in high school to get into Harvard or Stanford, or they have parents who are famous, powerful people, wealthy, famous, powerful people, and they get in and they don't really know what they want to do. Bill Gates was an example of that. He got into Harvard because it was a lot easier back then, and so he had good grades. He was a smart guy, but why else did he get into Harvard?
I don't know. He donated money. No. This is before that money, right?
That's when he was out of high school.
Not great. The computer science department was just starting. He wanted to be the
This
first.
was in the early 70s. His mother's family was the founders of Security Pacific Bank, or whatever it was, in Washington, the state of Washington. So the big bank, the equivalent of Bank of America in the state of Washington, his mother's family founded that bank.
So they bought him to start.
Well, that's how a lot of people do. Okay. So Bill Gates didn't go to Harvard because he wanted to get something because of Harvard. That was a continuation of something that kind of was expected. But what did he do?
Was Harvard was in school.
He dropped out. He didn't graduate.
What year?
72
Was he a junior? Was he a sophomore?
I think his sophomore year.
What year?
Paul Gates was there, not Paul Allen, and Steve Ballmer was there. Ballmer continued. He joined later after he read. But anyway, you've got to start with this. So Ed, what is your hits? What is it you love to do?
I like to renovate.
Re-renovate? What does that mean? Renovate something you tear apart?
Very sad. Very sad.
What do you do?
He's a stoic man.
You like construction? Okay. Renovation of buildings, not cars.
No.
Not antiques.
No.
Okay. Okay. So then you need to find people who do that. 3 to 5 companies that do that. Now you don't have your journeyman's license, right? Okay. So you might start as a laborer with the idea of working your way up. And what you need to do as part of your plan is to convince them that this is what you really, really want to do. Okay? So anyway, those are the steps to getting the job that you want. Now, you might not be qualified today for this. So part of the plan could be what?
Finish college.
Yeah, I need more education. I need to get a license. Like for you, Jesus, you said you want to be a construction company, right? But you have to have a license to have your own company, right? And so there could be other things that you need to do in order to do this. That's why we have a plan. And you might want to start somewhere. So if you want to own a restaurant, if your thing is, I really, really want to own a restaurant, I want to have my own business, I want to own a restaurant, well, part of the plan could be that I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I want to go work for somebody who knows how to run a restaurant. It's not that you want to be a waiter in somebody else's restaurant, not that you want to be a chef in somebody else's restaurant. Not that you want to work as a host in somebody else's restaurant. What you really want to do is own a restaurant, but you want to be successful. So the way to be successful is not this. It's not what is this. Learn vertically. Learn from somebody who's a pro. And last week, people that were here last Thursday, when Nolan came in, he talked about really the thing to do is own your own business. And then when I was with him after we left here, we got back on the Nolan Bushnell Entrepreneurs Academy, and that will probably start. And that is for Nolan to coach people to how to have their own, start their own successful business. And that is a business in itself, the business of teaching people, giving people lessons on how to start their own business. So that's $500 a month, which if you're serious about getting into business is not a lot. And if you can say, here's who my coach was, this is my coach, then that's going to help open a lot of doors. So on that spectrum we had this morning of risk, 0, or probability of success, 0 to 100, having something like Nolan and Bushnell teach you how to start your own business is going to move that probability a lot closer to 100. In fact, probably the idea that you initially have, starting your own business, is not going to be exactly what it is when you're done, because you're going to refine it and get it down to something that you can make a living on. And one of the questions would be, how much money do you want to make? If you say, well, I want to make $1 million a year, well, your business has to be able to make $1 million a year. You can't say, I want to have a business that I work, 20 hours a week, and I want to make $1 million a year. Okay, so I have to take this. This is Sherry. It's sort of like President Obama. Hello. Hello.
Marty! Hey, Marty, who did that to you? How you been?
Okay.
Good to see you.
So, let's see, there was a copy of Chow Tuki there. So what's that about? What that's about is consistently with our printers and in life, so this is a good lesson from employment planning, is people get complacent. What's that mean?
It means they don't worry about things. They let things just keep going on, even though there might be a problem. They don't take action.
Yeah, so our printer in Texas got complacent because we let them get away with 2 of the last 3 months. We aren't able to get the magazines to the members of the club. In fact, the last 2 months, they don't get the magazines in the mail before the meeting. The first Wednesday of every month is the Italian American Club members meeting. They're supposed to have the magazine in their mailbox before that day.
Didn't you do labels?
Yeah, we did the labels, but that was after the meeting.
I was thinking about the 1st of February. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm having a timing problem. We don't put the labels out to the middle of the month. How are we supposed to act in?
We didn't put them on the middle.
That's for January.
No, when did we do the labels?
It was like January. We did it. Yeah, we did them on the 8th.
Okay, so it was too late at that point.
The meeting was the 6th.
Right, so it was too
They're
late.
supposed to have them in their mailbox on the 6th.
So we didn't get the printed copies in time.
Correct. And that's the same thing the month before. And so we moved getting them the artwork a week ahead. And they informed me yesterday, that, well, they'll get them to us. They'll be done next Tuesday and shipped next Tuesday and be here next Thursday, which would mean if all of those things happen and we get them out on Friday, they will be there on Wednesday. But it has never been your print job is done on Tuesday and the truck left on Tuesday.
How many members are there?
There's 750.
Whoa, and all across the country?
No, here, mainly here. But yeah, all across the country, mainly here. So Once again, it was, well, you're scheduled to be done on the 26th and go out on the 26th and arrive next Thursday. But if they come in on Friday, we're not going to be able to do it, because when I went to the post office last time on Friday, remember everybody was out of here, it was like 3:30 and we just got the last thing on, and I had to get over there to the post office and get it done, and it was just it's, you know, put gun in mouth, pull trigger type of thing. It's just too many times. Fortunately, it wasn't the right chamber. The wrong chamber. So going back to our old printer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And thus we need to get them the artwork. And they'll have them delivered next Tuesday or Wednesday. And so they still need to be out by next Friday, but if we have them here, make things happen. So anyway, now, okay, so we've got about 20 minutes left to talk about the interview. And on the drive, Phyllis, could you do the 555 plan? And there's another matrix on it. So for our purposes, the purposes of people here, for purposes of people who go to places where they teach you how to do interviews, we're going to make it very simple, because you can't remember things that are complex. Okay? So simpler is better. So all you have to remember is what, Ed? No, about the interview. No, I'm just kidding. Because we already established that you don't remember. But here's what all you need to remember. 555. 555. That needs to be a trigger for you. 555.
Everybody right following with that so far?
555. So it's the first 5 seconds, the first 50 seconds,
The first 5 minutes.
and the first 5 minutes. Okay? This is the most important part of the interview. And anybody who teaches you about interviewing stuff that doesn't start with the first 5 seconds, problems. Okay? Statistically, it turns out that in the first 5 seconds, 70% of people decide who they're going to vote for in an election. The first 5 seconds they see are introduced to that candidate and they see their picture. That first 5 seconds, 70% of the people, that is who they're going to go with. It's not the, I learned about him, I researched him, I did this. It's the first 5 seconds for 70% of the people. Now, it could be that 70% of the people are morons, but...
I'm a Democrat, I'm voting for the Democrat. I need to take 5 seconds.
Well, but if there's multiple Democrats, they're like Bernie Sanders type of thing, or for city council type things, you know. It's the first 5 seconds. It's a thing that we are programmed to do. It's part of our genetic program. It's how it works in the animal world. You're a rat, you see another rat, you've got very quick to decide, is this rat a threat or not a threat? Okay? Okay, we're genetically programmed to do that. It's just part of our nature. Just because you're not aware of it, it doesn't mean it's not happening. Right? How many people are aware of their breathing? All the time? Okay. I find that
Right.
Yeah, just right. Yeah. Right. Most people, yeah, before I mention it, are not saying, okay, I need to breathe, inhale, exhale. Hold on, I can't talk to you because I have to breathe. Most people don't do that, okay? We do it automatically. And so automatically, we're judging people from the first 5 seconds, from the first second we meet them.
So it's all nonverbal.
That's a nonverbal thing. When you first walk in the room and you make eye contact with that person, you're judging them and they're judging you. You need to put your best foot forward. So what you need to do before you walk in as part of the Amy Cuddy power posing thing, you also need to say to yourself what Tony Robbins talks about is these affirmations of, this is who I am. I'm really smart, I'm likable, I know this business, this is what I am. And their first thoughts when they see you will be good.
Yeah, well,
But you need to be conscious of the fact that that's what is going on in their brain. You need to focus on what are they going to see when they see me. When I put my hand out and say, nice to meet you, smile, eye contact, not eye contact, that is all very important. Now, most people leave it at that, meaning, what do I want them to see in me? But this is also the time that you have to be sizing them up. What can we tell about somebody generally in the first 5 seconds? A lot. A lot. Okay? The most important thing we want to get across is what is their mood today? Are they in a good mood or a bad mood? If somebody's in a bad mood, is that going to affect, could that affect
Yes.
your interview?
Sure. Yep.
Does it have anything to do with you?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it matters.
You gotta play that. You gotta play that.
You need to be aware of it and respond in kind. It's like in golf. Well, most people, I forget about golf, because whenever I do this, nobody really knows how to play golf. So let's say tools. You have a box of tools, right? What are you supposed to, which tool are you supposed to use, Jesus?
The driver. That's right.
Right, no, tools. Which tool are you supposed to use? You walk into your
I
interview
never had to.
with proverbial box of tools. Which tool are you supposed to use? The right one. You're supposed to use the right one, right? Okay? Now, there's an expression of if your only tool is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. Okay?
Yes.
So you don't want to just have one tool in your bag. And if you go into an interview and you aren't thinking about what kind of mood is that person in, you're not thinking about using a different tool.
That's Luca right there.
Well,
You don't know what mood the person's going to be in.
well, you don't know before you walk in the door.
They're happy or sad.
You don't know before you walk in the door, but when you start looking at them and interfacing with them that first 5 seconds, you might be able to know.
And then
You might not be able to know, but you might be able to know in that first 5 seconds. But what you have to do in that first 5 seconds is start thinking about it, because you really need to know in that first 50 seconds. Are they in a good mood or not a good mood? Because the answers to my questions are going to be very different if they're in a good mood than if they're in a bad mood.
you actually going to prep for both situations.
Yeah, that's part of the research and planning, and that's part of this thing that Phyllis was looking for that's on the drive. Okay.
I put in an LCCLV folder, and I made another folder about 2020, which has that document and also the.
What about on the Google Plus? Okay, so this is a thing that you need to figure out if the person's in a good mood, bad mood, or indifferent. If somebody's in a bad mood and they ask you questions, what is generally the best way to answer?
Quickly.
Quickly. You don't embellish. They ask you a yes/no question, yes. Something else is going on in their mind. You know, maybe their wife is at the doctor. We had somebody here this week who was going to start working on club stuff, membership stuff. She came in and said, I can't do it. I just found out from my doctor that I might have pancreatic cancer. Okay? So, does it help her if I'm joking around? Is that going to make her feel better? What did she really want that I'm not going to give her?
Sympathy.
Yeah. No,
No. Money. It was money, right?
no, that's what she wanted. She wanted to be hugged because of her situation. So the first 5 seconds, what you need to do before you walk in the door is you need to say, okay, I need to be doing this with myself. I need to be projecting this. I'm prepared. This is the job I really want. I'm glad that I'm here. There's no place I would rather be than this. Positive affirmations. And then, in that first 5 seconds, projecting those, but at the same time becoming aware what's going on with that person. Looking around the room, do they have, are they like Dennis and they're a Lakers fan?
Oh, that's not cheap.
No.
You're actually going to say, how about those Lakers?
No, there's many ways to get that across without saying, how about those Lakers? That's not the only way to do it.
That's just a name for that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it looks to me like there's just, I'm sorry.
At the end of the day, it's not your skills, it's whether they like you. You have to have the skills, but if you have the skills and they don't like you, guess what? You're not going to get the job. If you have the skills and they like you more than anyone else, they like you, what's going to happen? They're going to hire you. Okay? Liking, and at Zappos, the number one thing is you have to be a little bit weird. Okay? You have to be a little bit weird. You have to fit into their culture. So if the guy is a Lakers fan and you say, I hate basketball, is that going to help you? Should it be?
Stupidest thing you can say. Why bring it up?
Okay, should it matter to the job? What does it matter? Does it matter whether you like, if it's just a normal job, it has nothing to do with sports or
You're
basketball?
trying to be friendly, sure.
Okay. If it has nothing to do with the job, it shouldn't matter, right?
Everything
Right.
Well,
Not everything, but it shouldn't have anything to do with whether you can do the job, but it does.
You're not talking to a robot, you're talking to a person that's feeling.
So the important thing in this first 50 seconds, 5 seconds you start, in that first 50 seconds you really have to have your plan of how you want to direct this interview. You need to be an active participant in control of the interview process, not a person who goes in and says, okay, I'm ready for an interview, you ask me.
If there's an awkward pause, do you wait or do you try to fill it?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Who made the statement that caused the pause?
Well, let's say the interviewer is not a very good interviewer. Do you start taking control of the interview or no?
No, that's probably not. But if you're at a good company, that's not, don't even think about that.
Okay.
Because a good company is not going to have a bad person do the interview.
Okay.
Now, they might act like Inspector Columbo,
Act like they're a little clueless.
because what are they trying to do in the interview?
They're trying to really feel who you really are.
They're trying to figure out if you are the person on this resume. You're here because we like this resume. This is who we're interested in hiring. But I don't know if this is you. So I need to find out if this is you. And, I have a lot of things at my disposal to figure that out. And if one of them is plain stupid, then I'm going to do that. But what we can try to figure out is, are they in a good mood or a bad mood? If they're in a good mood and they're ready to go out, you're the last interview, I've got an hour from now, I'm going to be leaving, I got plenty of time. So you're in the interview, they like you, they say I've got plenty of time because I get to go play golf at That's the golf course. I've always wanted to play there today. Today's going to be a great day. They're in a great mood. Now you have the opportunity to do what? Accentuate their good mood feelings. So if they're in a good mood, you have more of an opportunity to tell stories that are positive. They're going to continue making them feel good. When I do the YouTube interviews in Xiaotuti, my plan is very simple, because I want them to advertise in the magazine. So my plan is very simple. When I'm interviewing people, I try to find out memories that they have that were very positive that they haven't thought of for a long time.
Sorry.
No, it isn't. You just ask them.
Mm-hmm. But they don't. How do you ask them about a memory they haven't
Okay,
had?
well, we don't need to worry about that right now. Okay, here, go watch one of the 90 interviews. Go watch one of the 90 YouTube interviews. You'll see. Okay? So you get them to talk about a positive memory they had from a long time ago that they haven't thought of. Okay? How are they going to feel if they start thinking about a positive memory they had from a long time ago that they haven't thought of? They're going to feel good. So what happens after the interview, almost without exception, is they say, what do I have to do to advertise in the magazine? And I say, I'll have somebody call me. That's not my job. Somebody else will call me. And then as I turn around to walk out, I take out my phone and I start calling a salesperson, call the meeting. I don't actually do it that fast, but I immediately do it because in sales there's an expression called being under the ether. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's like you're being gassed or you're about to have your teeth pulled. I don't know.
When you're under the ether, you don't feel any pain. Okay? They can perform surgery on you when you're under ether. That's how they used to do it.
So you can close the sale when that person's still high in the memories, happy.
I don't do it. The sales does. Somebody calls them up when they're ready to do it. And that's how all selling works. People say yes when they feel good about saying yes. Unless they have a gun at their head.
They still say yes.
Yeah, because they've got it, not because they feel good. So, so in the first 50 seconds, you need to set the trajectory of how that interview is going to go. In the first 5 minutes, this is about 80% done. You might not know it. In their mind, 80% decision has been made whether they're going to hire you or not.
How long does it go?
20 minutes, maybe. Depends on how important the job is. At Zappos, you might have a whole bunch of 20-minute interviews. Or you might have an interview that's an hour and a half, but there's 7 people in it.
Is it normally good for it to be shorter or longer?
Depends on the position. But in the first 5 minutes, they're 80% certain. When they do this with people, so surveys, things they do is they have these interviews and they say to the interviewer, write down your number now on a piece of paper. Are you going to hire him, yes or no? And then they go back at the end and say, did you hire this person? And 80% of the decision is made in the first 5 minutes. What they decide in the, let me say it this way, what they decide in the first 5 minutes turns out to be what happens 80% of the time.
Can you influence with a thank you email? I've read somewhere that if you show common courtesy and thanking them for taking the time to interview you, that would actually possibly help you with the position.
I mean, in the beginning.
No, I mean,
That's up here.
After the interview, send them
No.
a thank you note.
No.
I was taught that somewhere else.
Well, that helps you come back for another interview in the future. And Tiger Claude, in his interviewing thing, he goes on to like 7 steps. And one of them is when they don't say, when they say, no, sorry, you're not, are you going to hire me? Either they're going to say yes, no, or we haven't decided yet. If they say no, or we haven't decided yet, you should thank you very much for the interview, like this. Thank you very much for the interview. Now, what could I have done differently? And I'm not letting go. So Tiger says you don't let go until they answer. No, you just shake, but you hold on.
Right.
What do I need to do to be better next time? And you don't let go.
So you actually ask them if you get the position during the interview?
On Tiger Todd's team. Okay. My statement, the thing you need to write down is 80% of the time, when they're asked 5 minutes into the interview, the interviewer, do you hire this person? Do you plan to hire this person? 80% of the time, the decision is made in the first 5 minutes. Okay, so what does that mean about the rest of the time that you are in that interview? Don't blow it. It either means don't blow it or what?
Keep doing good things.
Let's say, okay, so everything fits into a bell curve, right? So in the first 5 minutes, this is an absolute yes, absolute no, or not sure.
Try to win that 20% over your side.
So if you're in here, yeah, I think if you have to ask me yes or no, I would say yes. But the reality is I haven't decided. But you're telling me I need to write down yes or no, because we're doing this survey. So I'm going to write down yes, but I'm not really sure. That's why it's not 100%. Not really sure. If you're in this group here, what do you have to do in the rest of that last 15 minutes?
You got to start your ass off and swing.
You need to, that's right. You have nothing to lose because you're already not a yes. Now, what do they tell you in sales? Once the person says yes, what? Once you got the sale, what? What are you supposed to do?
Shut up.
Leave. Yeah. Okay. Once you have the sale, leave. Once you find out that you have the job. The idea is to get out of there, because all you can do is make it worse. You're not going to make it better than getting the job, right? You apply for job A. Yeah, there are some examples. I don't know, the probability is very low where you do this job and say, I want to come in the mailroom. And they say, you know what, we want to put you on the management training program. Don't go in thinking that. Just go in. All you need to do is get in the mailroom. Because if I get a job in the mailroom, I can work my way up. Okay? So if you are good, and if they're in a good mood, you have more of an opportunity to ask them questions under the ABC. What's ABC?
Always be closed.
Always be closing, right. You take control of the interview process. That means you're trying to find out what you need to do for them to say yes. So you ask little questions, little test questions, to see if they're going to say yes or no. But the key thing here is you need to get, you've got 5 minutes to get them to want to hire you. You don't have 20 minutes. You don't have until after the interview hoping that nobody else did a better job than you. So if you focus, your whole strategy, the plan in your interview is just focused on the first 5 minutes, don't you think you can be well prepared for that?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no excuse to not be prepared if it's just I have to really be focused the first 5 minutes. Because if you do a good job in the first 5 minutes, your 80% of the time it's going to be a yes. And then you just need to focus on not blowing it. On the other hand, if in that first 5 minutes it doesn't feel like it's going well, you've got to try to do what you have to do to get that turned around. But you need to get 80% of the time the decision is already made in the first 5 minutes. Are they going to tell you that in the first 5 minutes? No. Why not?
Unprofessional.
Unprofessional? What do they have to gain by telling you? No. What do they have to lose?
They can get in trouble for it.
Trouble? Or you leave and you tell everybody else, God, these guys suck. I didn't even get a chance to do an interview. He decided before they walked in the door.
told me that, Pastor. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So they don't really have anything to gain by telling you this. Another key to look for that you're not going to get the job is if they're giving you advice on what you need to do to improve.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Okay? Because if they're going to hire you, why would they be giving you advice on what you need to do? If they're going to hire you, so conversely, if they're going to hire you, what kind of things how's the discussion going to look? If you think they're going to hire
Would be a good salary package for you.
okay, pay type things. What else? Scheduling type things.
Responsibilities.
Okay, what else?
I don't know.
Okay, what would you do type questions. Oh, how would you handle this type questions? Because they want to figure, because they're not trying to figure out whether they like you. It's now trying to figure out, how much skills do you have? What would you do in this situation? How would you handle this? How did you handle this in the past? Because now they really are asking questions that might have some meaning. And not just trying to figure out who you are, like, tell me about this position here. What is you need to be aware of if they say, tell me about this position here?
They're trying to see if you like the resume.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out whether you wrote the resume. So, Ed, here's a problem that you would have with these people that help you, in quotes, write your resume. Basically, write your resume for you. So somebody writes the resume. It wasn't me the other day, so I can do it. Everybody's probably forgotten. Most of them. So they say, tell me about what was your last job before here? Before here. Before you came back.
Yeah,
Okay, pipe maintenance, okay. So they said, tell me about this job. Tell me about this pipe maintenance job.
Well, what I basically was going to be using the EDA, which is the old product which they use for filtering to get to
You have this on your resume?
No.
Okay. So tell me about this here, what you wrote on your resume. Tell me about that. What does it say on the resume these people wrote for you about that job? They didn't put anything about that job on your resume? Why not? Oh, okay. So then let's pretend they have something. I say, tell me about this, and you say whatever you said. And then I go like this. That's not what it says right here.
So, yeah, what do you have?
Is that what you'd say to me?
I mean,
I'm the interviewer. We're role playing.
okay, so once I explain myself, and you say,
That's not what it says right here. Now what are you going to do? Is that what you're going to say? Well, I'm screwed.
well, no, but I mean, obviously.
Okay, so a test that people do to try to figure out, is this you? Because especially if you have your resume prepared by a professional person, it's going to be better than you could do.
Right.
Okay, so if you come in and they say, oh, this is a good-looking resume, I'm not sure that you wrote this. They know if they say, did you write this, you'll probably say no. And you probably say yes. You probably say yes. Or you might say, yeah, but I had somebody polish it up for me. You know, something that's not a good answer. Instead of that, they just might ask you a question along the lines of, tell me about this. That's not what it says right here. And then they're going to be watching for your reaction. Because how you respond to that question is going to tell them whether they can trust you. So a big problem with having other people write your resume is when somebody says, that's not what it says right here, you're not really sure if it says that. Because when they gave you the resume, you didn't memorize it. You looked at it a few times, you said, wow, this is really well written. God, I look like a great person. Yeah, somebody probably hired me with this resume. This is way better than I can do. That's what's going through the brain. Not memorizing every word as if you wrote it yourself. And as part of the research or your plan, you kept rewriting it, making sure that that sentence on this resume, maybe it's worded a little bit differently than on this other resume. So, we're over time. Let's see, California. I'm sorry, Dennis. Does anybody have any quick questions?
Anybody have any questions? Anything? No, everybody has their being pretty
Okay.
self.
So the takeaway, the absolute takeaway from this is it's the interview that gets you the job, not the resume. It's how you do in the interview. And in the interview, fundamentally, they're testing whether you match or the person that is this resume describes, because they know a vast majority of people have somebody else write their resume for them. What you need to be prepared for is the first 5 seconds, the first 50 seconds, and the first 5 minutes. And in that first 5 seconds, you need to project that you're the right person for the job, and you need to figure out what kind of mental state they're in. Because then you need to choose the right tool, how you're going to handle the next 50 seconds and the next 5 minutes. And that 50 seconds is also helping you figure out, what is this person like? How do I have to get this person to like me? It might not be right. I think it's right, but this approach might not be right. But this is the type of approach that people who actually get the good jobs do. So if you're going to be competing with somebody for a position and they're going to be using these techniques to get the position and you're not willing to do it, you're not going to get the job. You're not. Because they're doing what they need to do to get the job in a good and positive, upfront, honest, legitimate way. First 5 seconds, first 50 seconds, and to get, you've got 5 minutes to persuade them that you're the right person for the job. Because 80% of the time, what they decide in the first 5 minutes is what they're going to go with. So don't think it's a 20-minute interview. It's a 5-minute interview, and the other 15 minutes is for the people where they're not sure. And if you focus on a good first 5 minutes, and you have written down, here's the things I need to get across. Here's what I need them to know about me. I'm going to make you more money than anyone else that's applying for this position. Oh, really? How are you going to do that? See, I just took control of that interview because now I got them to ask me a question that I wanted them to ask. I'm going to make you more money. Why should we hire you? I'm going to make you more money than anyone else applying. And these nonverbal things, those work. Not, I'm going to make you more money than anyone else. What does that mean if I say I'm going to make you more money?
I'm not going to.
I just said I was.
You're not telling the truth.
Exactly. Okay, so nonverbal, I'm going to make you more money than anyone else applying for this job. Oh, really? How are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to work harder, I'm more dependable, but I have something no one else has. I know how to use the cloud, and I can help you get there because it's going to get you more customers. You're going to make more money, or you're going to save money. That's what you're going to do. And then hope that they say, well, what do you mean the cloud? And then what have you done as part of your plan?
Well, you already have something.
Right, you already have one of the apps nailed. And if it's an app where you can show them a form or a map or a video of how it can help them get more customers or save money, do you think anyone else is going to do that in the interview? No. But at the end of the day, they have to like you.
They have to remember this.
Well, they'll remember you, but they have to like you. You don't want to be remembered as that son of a bitch. Okay? You don't want to. You need to be a positive thing. Okay, so we're over time. We'll see everybody next week in California. Tomorrow is quiz day here, so I would be expecting here for the 10 o'clock quiz. What?
Probably do resumes.
Well, I had it on the board.
We have folders. We have to have folders ready to roll. Yeah.
Okay, so be prepared. And again, thank you for being there, California.
You're welcome, Ed. Thank you. You guys have a good weekend.
Okay, bye now.
Okay.